They called him the Diesel.
Drag up that diesel. Let's go.
He leaned across the table and he goes, "You need to get me back there. I'll make you famous."
And to Riggins, good hole. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20. He's gone. He's gone.
It's Riggo the Diesel.
Ho, ho, ho. And I'm not talking about a DB that plays for Washington. Merry Christmas, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Riggo the Diesel. I am John Riggins. Larry Michael, the voice of your Washington Redskins, is sitting here with me. Perry Mattern is taking the day off. I think he went home to Harrisburg to be with his parents.
Heading up. Merry Christmas, Riggo.
Oh, same to you, Larry.
Do you ever dress up as Santa? Anybody ever, because of you being Riggo, has anybody said, "Hey, Riggo"?
I have dressed up as Santa. God, it was classic. I was the White House Santa Claus back in 1984, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And
yeah, there's an interesting story here. I dress up as a Santa Claus. You go down to the White House. They take you downstairs. You put on your uniform or put on the Santa Claus outfit. We went into the Oval Office, took some pictures with President Reagan, and then what Santa Claus does. I was just telling somebody this yesterday. My best recollection is Santa Claus follows the First Lady around as she gives the press a tour of the White House and its decorations.
Right.
Finally, you get to the end. Now, if you probably don't recall this, it's really one of those factoids that really is not even worth remembering. But the year before, Mr. T had been Santa Claus.
Wow.
Right? Okay, so I'm in fast company here, and so the year before, somewhere along the way, Mrs. Reagan, they had ended up sitting on Mr. T's lap, like a kid would do at Christmas time.
Oh my gosh!
With Santa Claus. So we're sitting there. We've come full circle. Everything's in, and now the First Lady's addressing the press, and they're all sitting there. And Sam Donaldson, you remember Sam?
Sure, of course.
He
ABC. ABC.
Yeah. Sam asked the First Lady if she was going to sit on Santa Claus's lap again this year.
And you're Santa Claus.
And I said, well, it depends on if they spike the punch. and Sam's reaction was classic. He went, "How now, sir?" It was like,
so he was mortified that
was.
you had a great one-liner, another great one-liner.
It was inappropriate.
Come
the
on.
story of my life, Larry.
Loosen up.
Inappropriate.
Loosen
up, Sam.
Loosen up, Sam. Well,
In fact, Sam was there that night that went down, too. I believe he was the MC.
I'll tell you, there's just thinking of that, not thinking of Nancy Reagan sitting on your lap, rather thinking about the White House during Christmas. I don't know, have you ever been down there, T-Dog?
I have.
They do an incredible job. I didn't go there this year. Last year, I got invited down there to go through just with me and my son for a tour of the decorations. Oh, my God. It's ridiculous. I don't know how much money they spend on that, but man, it's incredible.
It's decent. And there's something going on. I just saw a glimpse of it, one photograph. But the press is all agog, which is hard to believe, about Melania. I think there's a bunch of red Christmas trees in the White House or somewhere down there. I mean, I don't hold me to it, but there's something like that really are quite beautiful. In other words, that artistically, it's working.
Painted them or something. They were white last year with all that spray stuff, right? That's the way they do it down south. They do it a lot.
Red this year. Yeah.
Red. That's great.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
so
fantastic.
True.
Somebody didn't like that?
Now, here's another thing. This is what I was going to let's talk about Christmas just for a second. First of all, I've done zero.
0.0.
Yeah, I started to do something online and even went, just
nothing.
I couldn't pull a trigger.
Nothing. So
I'll jump in the strong box late tonight and pull some cash out. And
that's how you're going to roll?
That's how I roll.
It's going to be a big wad.
I don't want to say. You ever seen that movie Christmas with the Cranks? It's Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis. Well, they're going to run off.
That.
They're basically saying, we do this every year. Let's go to the island. I don't want to get it, but anyway, there's a picture which anybody that's watching right now or listening can relate to. There's a moment in there where Jamie Lee Curtis, because they find out her daughter's coming home for Christmas, and they didn't plan on that happening. And all of a sudden, she's just all at Twitter because they really look forward to seeing their daughter, and so now all of a sudden they're going to do Christmas. So she goes to the grocery store to get this canned ham, this special ham that the daughter really loves. She gets to the store, and there's only one left, and so there's another older woman with her cart and they're sitting there side by side. They both
Eyeballing the ham.
both of them together at the same time. And the next thing you know, it looks like Seabiscuit and Secretariat going for that ham. And, of course, Jamie Lee Curtis, she gets run off the road and dives into some display or whatever. But to me, that's the whole – I mean, I don't stand in line to give people my money. I'm not that guy. And did you do a lot of Christmas shopping?
No, I got it all done in a span of 2 hours.
Did you actually go to the store?
Span of 2 hours.
Or did you just do it online?
I went to the place that sells beverages.
Okay. Well,
I went to a beverage place and got a bunch of beverages. And I also went online to get a couple large items, which were delivered in a day. So literally in the span of 2 hours, I got everything done. And, of course, my kids are older now, so I don't handle any of that stuff. So
yeah,
I had none of that. Zero. But the kids, they've been very well taken care of over the years, so I think I have no complaints. So, yeah, I mean, you know what? It comes, it goes real quick. This year, especially if you work here, if you work with the Redskins, and Devontae would probably second this, that, you know what? You know the deal, Riggo, when you were playing. I mean, Christmas, if you're in the middle of the season, it just gets swallowed up. This year, in fact, Christmas falls on a Tuesday, which is the players' day off, which is a company holiday, so we will not be here. Which is really, if Christmas fell on a Wednesday or Thursday, I'd be here. Can't tell you how many Christmas. T-Dog, remember the Aloha Bowl?
Oh, I do.
Did you ever go to the Aloha Bowl?
I had to do it right after getting married 6 weeks earlier and had to spend my first Christmas away from my wife.
Yeah.
In Hawaii.
Yeah, in Hawaii. It's a rough duty, but somebody's got to do it.
That's what I was going to go with it.
I went to Hawaii one year because it was a Christmas game. I left on the 24th. And I came back on the red eye after the game on the 25th. So I literally spent 12 hours in Hawaii and flew home.
I did that same thing, but I had to be there early.
That's a rough go there.
That is rough because you don't enjoy being there.
Well, from here, I think it's 11 or 12 hours.
It's a long haul. I can sleep on a plane. It's pretty good. You just got to you medicate before and during.
Well, yeah, somebody told me, and I did this once when I went to Hawaii. There was some kind of cough syrup. You drink a bottle of that, and as soon as you drink the bottle of cough syrup when you get on the plane, then you order a beer or two, and it worked magnificently. I had a nonstop. This is about 15 years ago. I had a nonstop from Honolulu to Newark, and I remember waking up and they say we are on final approach into Newark International Airport. Oh my God, I don't believe it. It worked to perfection.
Yeah, I lay off the syrup. I lay off the syrup.
It's illegal now.
That's right.
There was some kind of Robitussin, and they had different grades of Robitussin. One you had to have a prescription for. This you could get over the counter.
Well,
yeah, exactly. There we go.
Todd's choking over there. You know what? A quick trip to the bar is all I need. Just a quick one before takeoff, and that's all it takes. Probably could have used a couple of those on Saturday night, Riggo.
Yeah. That probably
on
the way home.
On the way home, didn't. We got home, and I went home, and house was dark. Everything was quiet, and I kind of popped open. I wish I had some. Thank you for the fourth and one, by the way. Thank you for that beautiful Christmas present. That's the nicest present anybody could give you is
pretty much
some outstanding beer. But had one beer and went to sleep Saturday night. That was the extent
of your post-game ceremonies.
Well, you know what? They played so hard, and
they did,
and they really did play hard. That was a real impressive effort. And
all things considered, absolutely. Yeah, against a team playing at home that needed to win to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, and I agree with Jay Gruden. I mean, there's a lot of talk about a lot of things that the players have said and done, and a lot of speculation. But to see Josh Norman get disrespected by that lineman on the sideline, I don't know if you saw that clip.
I missed that.
Yeah, he was on the sideline, and he was sitting there after the game was over, sitting on the bench.
Oh.
And one of the linemen from Tennessee came over and mocked his bow and arrow thing, and he instigated kind of a shoving match when Joshua was sitting on the bench, just bummed.
Mind his own business.
Bummed on that bench. I don't think I've ever seen that. I mean, you've seen a lot more than me, but a guy to come on the opposing bench after a loss and dog a guy like that. And Josh took exception to it, and Paul Kelly from the football staff had to step in. It just was a sour deal. Sour deal.
A little gloating. Reminds me of Harvey Martin.
Yeah, with
the game in '79,
with the funeral.
But see
wreath.
what I always recall, and on the one hand, I went, okay, no big deal. Got to get on the plane. We got beat, and we're not going to make the playoffs, from going from having home field advantage throughout the entire playoffs to not even making the playoffs. But I think a Washington fan had sent the wreath to the Cowboys locker room.
Oh, I
That
didn't
was a-
know
that
that's
was a
the rest of
story
the
that I heard.
That's the rest of why. Yeah, how would he have had one? I guess you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, that's
know?
the story I heard. So, I guess it was Harvey's idea of one-upsmanship that, hey, this wreath really is for you guys, not us. I think that's the way that went. But it's the same type of deal where somebody's kind of celebrating their victory a little more than they should, perhaps. I don't know.
Well, one more game
They
to
call
go.
it sportsmanship or
Yeah,
lack
or
thereof.
lack of sportsmanship.
All right, should we take a little break here? I'm
Yeah,
gonna do
we'll
a little
take
read
care of
and we'll
some
come back
business
with
here.
we'll get into this playoff scene a little bit more. Most people, as you all know, don't give much thought about their home's plumbing until there's an emergency. Now, wouldn't it be great to know that all of your plumbing is in good condition and that you're not wasting water or your hard-earned cash? The team at O'Connor Plumbing can give your home a complete plumbing checkup of all your visible piping, drains, faucets, traps, water heaters, sump pump, toilets. They'll check it all, and at no cost for the next 30 days. Call Conroe Plumbing now to set up your no-cost 44-point home plumbing inspection. It's 1-833-RIGGO-44.
Helping people improve their lives is what should drive business. That's the belief at Koch Industries, which employs more than 65,000 people across America. Team at Koch works together to meet the world's changing needs in transportation, medical care, water filtration, household goods, energy-efficient building products, and everyday technologies, all while consuming fewer resources. See the innovations firsthand at kochindustries.com.
Who's bored? Who's broke? And who's back?
I wanted to always see the redwoods. I wanted to see the Rocky Mountains. I wanted to see the Painted Desert, the Petrified Forest, the Grand Canyon. That was like the land that I always wanted to go to.
John Riggins.
Well, we're glad you're joining us here on this. Well, it was live. We're not live, but it's kind of.
I don't think we're ever live. Just in case
Exactly.
we say something. I think
Exactly.
this is
Well,
good.
my point is that it's Christmas Eve.
It is Christmas Eve.
And actually, there's a lot more people out than you think in some places. I was surprised to see as many cars out here at the park today. And we took a cruise over by a place to get some gas, and there's a lot of activity over there. But actually get out on the road, there's hardly anybody out there. So I guess everybody's kind of rolling into the holidays. I want to kind of go back a little bit, Larry, if we could, to the game actually on Saturday.
Yes, sir.
And we're talking about the great effort. I have to tell you something. I thought by far his best game, Adrian Peterson, I thought he just played fantastic. And what you were talking about when you talk about effort, the patched up offensive line. I mean, you had people now, once again, new guys dropping out. I mean, it's so, and then the defensive line, as far as shutting down Henry, they did an excellent. We talked about this in the pregame show, and I felt like that, and they did. It was all laid out there. If Adrian Peterson carried the ball 25 times, I think it was 26, wasn't it, total? I think I saw that. And the defensive, in other words, those guys up there, the front three and the four behind them, they shut down Henry, keep him from getting into the second level. They're going to have a chance to win this football game. And they had a chance to win that football game.
And knocked out their quarterback.
And knocked out their quarterback. That's part of it. I didn't quite see that far in my crystal ball. But and I don't know whether it helped or hurt. It's hard to say, really, because Blaine Gabbert, Marcus Mariota, I don't know. It's a toss-up to me.
Yeah.
Not a lot there to pick from.
Gabbert's been around, and that's, again.
Was he a first-round draft pick?
I think he was, wasn't he? I think he was. I think he
Yeah,
was. I remember him visiting Redskins Park before he was drafted.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just like very similar memory that when I remember seeing Mark Sanchez here at this location before he got drafted. They came in for a visit. But they did everything they needed to do to win, except, again, you got to score touchdowns when you have the opportunities. You got to make those plays. And for the Redskins, it came up short. Again, you can blame the defense. Defense played pretty good. They shut down Henry. They didn't kill him. In the passing game, game-winning touchdown on a blown coverage.
Right.
But I thought they did everything they needed to do to win, and I would agree with you. I don't know how you could have predicted for Adrian Peterson to have this type of year and to be that strong in the game that mattered most. And, John, he was so devastated after the game. He was thinking there was a couple runs out there where he could have maybe broken. I thought there was one.
Oh, well.
couple. I mean, you probably know what that feeling.
Yeah, exactly. My point is, though, I'm sure that there, you're in the broadcast booth. There's always a call you wish you would have made after you. I mean, we all do that.
Yeah.
But I got to say that I don't think he missed a whole lot of anything. I mean, in his own mind, you go back through the game. But
where does he stack up in the all-timers? You didn't want to talk about this as much as we did back when he was going to pass you on the touchdown record because fifth place, you said, talk to me when he's first. But this guy stacks up with guys like you, don't you think?
Well, I would be. I'm not exaggerating when I say what I saw on Saturday afternoon. And you couldn't tell he was 33 years old. There was this kid looked like he'd just come out of it was first-round draft pick, and this was his rookie year. That's how fresh he looked. That's what really was so amazing about it, that he was able to find things. He was able to buy time. He was able to move around in the backfield and see something and get through it. And he was consistently, it wasn't one of the like a 90-yarder or 60-yarder, but he was consistently turning, maybe a yard loss into a 5-yard gain, maybe a 1-yard gain into an 8 or 9-yard game. And that, to me, I was going, and it would seem like every time he got the ball, he had to do something very athletic to get those yards. I mean, the line helped him, but he did a lot of that. What appeared to me, I haven't gone back and looked at the films. Cooley obviously has probably looked at it 3 or 4 times. I will ask him when I do my thing with him today, if in fact we get together. Yeah. Did Peterson play? Did Peterson run the ball as well as it appeared that he ran? And to me, I was so impressed with what he did.
At that age, John, is it as much a vision thing to see those holes because he can't be as fast. He looks pretty fast. He can't be as fast as he was 10 years ago. Maybe he is, but you have that type of experience as you got into your career. Was your vision more important than your burst?
Well, yes and no. I think that that like anything else, the pitchers in baseball, as they get older, I suppose you can make the argument. I don't know because I've never been a major league pitcher, but I'm guessing they lose a little bit of their heat, a little bit. But the fact that they had so much heat to begin with, you take a little bit off of Roger Clemens' fastball, it's still faster than 99% of the guys' fastballs out there. And I think that's what you're seeing with Adrian Peterson, that he was blessed with so much talent when he came into the league that even though he's lost, some of it, you might say, and the thing that makes it so impressive, I can't say this enough, is the knee reconstruction that he's gone through, several years back, and he still has overcome that. I'm telling you, that just blows my mind. I don't know, it speaks to his determination. It speaks to modern science and medicine, how they're able now to reconstruct the knee, and actually you come back, I don't know, maybe this $6 million man stuff, you come back bigger, stronger, faster. I don't know. But he looked like that guy on Saturday.
And much as 44, he punishes people when they try to take him down. He is delivering. Most cases, he's delivering the blow.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that it probably, again, I can only relate to what you can tell me. I would think it feels better on your body if you deliver the blow than if you take the blow, right?
I'll give you an example of that. Years ago, and I wasn't in the meeting, but Walt Michael, who used to play in the league, and his brother was Lou Michael,
the kicker.
The kicker,
yeah.
Right, played for the Browns. Walt,
he was a coach at the Jets.
He was a defensive back coach, and he also became the offensive coordinator. And he kind of that same. While Buddy Ryan was the defensive line coach, but Walt took, he said, you take 2 pop bottles and you hold on to one of them and you strike it. Which one of the pop bottles you want to be? Basically, you want to be the one that's doing the hitting, not the one that's accepting the blow. And that's kind of what you're saying with Peterson.
Yeah,
he unloads when he gets to somebody, and he makes it count. And like I said, to me, the thing that was so impressive was how the energy that he played with. That I would think that, particularly this is what the 15th game of the year.
Yeah, man.
You should be wearing down, but I think that and this is really a positive reflection on Jay Gruden, that considering what this team has gone through from the injuries, and everybody has injuries, but when you get your 2 quarterbacks, your first quarterback, your second team quarterback, they get knocked out, and you have to go out and find somebody on the street and bring them in and somehow have a semblance of an offense, and you don't have the luxury of all this time to prepare. And yet you can still go out there and you're competitive. You win one game that a lot of Las Vegas said you're supposed to lose by 7. You almost win a game Las Vegas said you're supposed to lose by 11.
Right.
And you were right in it to the end. You have to give Coach Gruden some credit. And, I think there's people that probably and I'm not going to say myself. I can see his point of view because there's a few people that maybe rocking the boat a little bit, and yet he seems to have a kind of a steady hand without getting overreactive, and is able to keep these guys on an even keel, even though, there's a little bit of excitement down in the hold of the boat, you might say.
Well, we'll see what happens this week because some of the statements made after the game.
Correct.
Certainly struck a nerve.
Well, I was going to say that's what I'm referencing.
Yeah, you're talking about Swearinger, obviously. So we'll see. As we are here on Christmas Eve, we have no way of knowing how the week's going to unfold. That's why you have to tune into Redskins Nation, right, T-Dog?
That's right.
Well, I was going to say, too, that's also why I'm thinking that maybe Jay's saving the best for last. I don't know. Jay could have a little trick up his sleeve.
Philly's got to win this game now, and we'll talk about that in a moment here. Here's a little tip. If you need a mortgage, use the pros at McLean Mortgage. Buying a home can be stressful and filled with hassles. The experts at McLean Mortgage understand what an important financial investment in your home is and will seamlessly build you through the process to successful home ownership. Smooth, amazing, easy, professional, first rate. Just some of the reviews from the tens of thousands of homeowners. Trust McLean Mortgage. Check them out, McLeanMortgage.com, lending as it should be. And the great folks at McCarthy Services like to help those in need year-round during the holidays, no exception. Last thing you want are financial challenges, a problem with your heating and cooling system, water heater, toilets, or drains. That can be a hassle. That's why through December, you're going to waive diagnostic fee on any repair. You can use that diagnostic cost instead for dinner, gifts. T-Dog, perfect for you. Go out for a great dinner someplace. However, you like to celebrate, and we've seen you celebrate. McCarthy Services, making it work, making it right. Visit McCarthyHomeservices.com. John, football might be the gift that keeps on giving, but it's not something you can wrap in shiny paper and send to a friend. No. For that kind of gift, look to the Virginia Lottery's holiday games. When you give holiday games to friends, family, and neighbors, you're giving the gift of joy. And you could be giving the gift of awesome cash prizes, too. Give $1 holiday sparkle scratchers to everyone in your fantasy football league. Pass out $2 gingerbread doubler scratchers to all your coworkers. Surprise your in-laws with some $20, $100, or $200 win scratchers. For your in-laws?
Sparkles.
Everyone likes a good game. The season of giving is here. Give the gift of joy. Give holiday games from the Virginia Lottery. Look for holiday sparkle, gingerbread doubler, winner luck, $10,000 bonus. Win either 100 or 200 and all the other Virginia Lottery games at your favorite lottery retailer.
Did you say red bubbler?
A gingerbread doubler.
Oh, doubler. I was going to say, I don't want nothing to do with a red bubbler. That just sounds a little tricky to me. You need those gloves up to your shoulder to handle a red bubbler, would you?
Comes John in full battle regalia.
Full regalia.
I had to hear it just one more.
That's his story, and he's sticking to it. Story time with Riggo.
Okay, well, story time, we're going to kind of morph this into the playoffs, if you're cool
I'm
with
down
that.
with whatever you bring.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
like I was saying earlier, that I watched, for me, quite a bit of football yesterday. I was jumping back and forth between Tampa and Dallas, jumping back and forth between the Texans and Philly. Then that second game started, and I caught some of I watched about the first half of Pittsburgh, New Orleans, and then went out and had to get some groceries for tonight and to make a little dinner for everybody. And so while I was out, and then I got back, and there was a minute left to go in the game. Pittsburgh's got the ball. They're driving, and you see what happens there. Now, Pittsburgh, interestingly enough, all of a sudden, by losing that game, they're on the outside looking in, now,
Right.
correct? Because
Right.
the what do you call it? The Ravens have taken their spot as perhaps going to win their division. I guess if the Ravens lose this next weekend and Pittsburgh wins this,
I think Pittsburgh's in that case.
They've got a chance then.
They're still in the hunt.
Oh, yeah,
They're the
definitely.
only team in the hunt in the AFC. Everything else is pretty much set. And in the NFC, Philadelphia is the only team that's still in the hunt, but
That might have-
outside of the top six.
And Philly, if they were to get in, they would take the place of Minnesota, I take it.
Correct.
Because Seattle has clinched a playoff spot.
I think Seattle's got 9 wins, right? Yeah. Right, Devontae?
So they're 9-6.
9 and 6, right?
So I'm trying to think, though, would that But if they would stay 9-6,
I think Seattle has a better NFC record than Philadelphia.
Something makes me think you're right.
There's some willingness there.
What was interesting last night, and I went on the NFL's website, and this was after most of the games were over with, and I, at least the games that mattered, and it still looked like Washington was in the hunt, and yet at the same time that I'm watching television, they say, well, no, Washington's been eliminated.
Philly's field goal eliminated the
That's
Redskins.
what it was.
Philly's field goal.
That's why they had to wait.
9-6, and they are in the playoffs.
They are. Thank you, T-Dog.
What's that?
TK.
Who's in the playoffs?
Seattle.
Yeah, they're locked in.
Yeah, so it's just Minnesota and Philly, which brings me to a question, John, which I think I'd like to focus a little bit on here, and maybe you'll see this on the kickoff preview show coming up Saturday, the little bit you do with Cooley, because we don't know. Cooley's here. We don't know. You might not do the piece. We'll see. But nonetheless, what is the significance of this game against Philadelphia in terms of the Redskins moving forward? You're taking on a team that's got playoff ramifications. You have been eliminated. What's it going to show you about this team? What are you looking for out of this team?
You know, Larry, I'll tell you what, a lot of times in situations like this, you'll see there's other teams that are going through this, and you heard me say it last week, and I have to, and particularly now, and I think it's particularly true, is it kind of gets into, because there's uncertainty. If you feel like somehow, and yet you can, what do I want to say, that there's parts of this that are understandable. The fact that you've lost your quarterback and then you lost your backup quarterback and the team kind of started wobbling a little bit. But you go into an off season and there's some people can make the argument you underperformed. And so now all of a sudden, does everybody know what's going to happen? There's uncertainty, I guess. And certainly in some of these teams, say with the Jets, they played yesterday. It was another game I watched some of. They played Green Bay right down to the wire, going to overtime, they lose. Well, if you're on the Jets, you still got one more game to play, but there's already rumors that they're going to be looking for a new coach. Well, you know what? Having gone through that in the past, you don't know, and I'm not suggesting that's happening here in Washington, but you never know. That's my point. You just don't know what's going to happen. You got to go out there as a player and be professional. In some ways, it's more demanding, I think, to play under the circumstances that this team is going to find them playing under on Sunday, and yet it can be more fun too, because I don't want to say it's laughs and giggles and all that stuff, but at the same time, there is no real pressure, but yet there is a subtle pressure, because if you don't play well and you hadn't played well the game before or whatever, well, people, if there was going to be some kind of a change, there's going to be people come in there and evaluate, and all of a sudden your name's going to be on a list you probably don't want it on. So to me, as I say, that I would think that you better make sure that you got your stuff taken care of, and if there isn't a change, you're still going to be noticed. And if you're a guy that goes out there and says, well, it's the last game of the season, nothing to play for, I think you get, you go into that other category of guys that aren't really what we want to have down in the locker room type of deal. In other words, you're not the kind of timber that we're looking for.
So in a way, you're free and loose to play the game because you have nothing to lose in terms of wins and losses. Yeah, it's a win or a loss, but you have something to lose, which could be
personal,
your job.
Yes, exactly. And then you got to look at it too from the standpoint, I think, of look yourself in the mirror and say, am I a professional? Because regardless of your circumstances, the only way it works the other way, and the other part of this, there's the other part I hadn't even brought up. If you go out there and you kind of give it, half a shot, I would say your odds of being injured go way up. I think that, so there's a lot of stuff going on here that, that would behoove all the players to go out there and be professional. I mean, to me, I think sometimes that gets lost a little bit. People go, they start feeling sorry for themselves and go, 2 years ago, wasn't it? They had a chance to win a game against the Giants that put them in the playoffs and still couldn't quite muster the intensity to do that. So there's a lot of stuff going on for everybody, I think, and that the best way to get out of it is put your best foot forward.
And again, you're playing a team in Philly that needs a win, and they're going to know what's going on. They'll be watching the scoreboard during the game. Minnesota's game is also a 4:25 game. It's Minnesota hosting.
Well,
Chicago,
they moved it, right? That's what you said.
Yeah, I think obviously they're going to be switching back and forth. On Fox, they'll be switching back and forth between those two games.
Right, because they'll both be on Fox. So they can go back and forth.
And it's inevitable, John, because again, I've been here for a while, and you obviously you're a Hall of Famer. Is that this team is going to change after this year. It's always inevitable. You'll have players who will become free agents. You'll have other players who are going to be brought in. Competition for jobs. You got a lot of guys who are rehabbing as we speak. So I think it's going to be a very interesting offseason. Can you continue the podcast throughout the offseason?
I believe I can.
Okay.
I
Well,
believe I'm supposed to.
look,
If I don't, you're going to come looking for me.
looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. But that's a mighty nice leather jacket you're wearing.
I was waiting for you to say something.
It is. I'll tell you what. I saw you walking in, and I thought, you know what? Here comes a bad man right here. I see you coming in.
I'm still, like I tell people when they talk about, oh, yeah, you was one of the tough guys. I say, I just portrayed one on Sunday afternoons. I played the part. I created the illusion. No, I've had this jacket for a long time. The only snag with it is it's a shot, made in New York City and all that stuff, so it's the real deal. But I don't know, they got these pockets back here where you can't really get your hand in it. Now, I probably should have tried it out before I purchased it. But
Was it too far back?
yes, it's too far back.
Even if they were close, you couldn't get your hand in it.
Exactly.
It's like trying to put your hand in
I'd
a glove.
have to
that
have,
doesn't fit.
I could get my arm shortened, and then if I did that, I would say that I
Yeah.
could probably fit.
It does fit you,
If
though.
If I was an alligator, it'd fit perfectly.
The struggle's real, Riggo.
Exactly. That's why I'm going to wear this to the bars. I can't reach my wallet, guys. That's my jacket. I can't get in there.
It's a good-looking jacket.
But I was going to say, now combine this with the hat, and who have I just created? Come on, you got to go back. It's an old series on TV.
Hey.
No, not Fonzarella, but you're in the ballpark.
Fonzarelli?
Do you guys remember that? Then came Bronson,
Yeah.
Michael Parks.
I thought you were talking about Charles Bronson. I thought you were talking about
Now,
Charles
there is a tough
Bronson.
guy, but
with-
he just created the illusion.
Yeah, but
in
he
his
had
movies.
the hat just like you. He wore that black hat all the
He
time.
did quite a
he
bit.
would wear that hat. When I see you, literally when I see you have this look quite a bit. This is one of your favorite looks. The black hat, the stocking hat, pulled down there.
Well-
But it's folded up, old school. I think of Charles Bronson when I see you wearing that hat.
I
forget
think
what
that's a
movie that
compliment.
was. It is.
Well,
Death Wish? Are
he
you
was-
kidding me?
Oh yeah, Death Wish, but that was something. But he always used to play. Didn't he? He always played a tough guy. In the beginning, he was kind of a what do you call it? He played the bad guy, heavy more often than not, and then he kind of morphed into a good guy. Because I think he was in the Dirty Dozen.
Yeah, he is. You know what? One of the only guys to make it out alive.
Oh, he did make it out alive.
Jim Brown? No. Telly Savalas? No. John Cassavetes, at the very end, got shot in the back.
How
as he
about
leave.
Clint Walker? Did he
Clint
make
Walker
it out?
dead.
Okay.
All of them. Trini Lopez, dead.
Trini Lopez.
Trini Lopez.
How about what's his name? The guy that was the head of the outfit.
Marvin?
Lee Marvin?
He
Marvin made it out.
You'd
He
have
made it
figured
out.
it
And
was.
the other guy, the sergeant, who was I forget what the guy's name was.
probably think
Donald
so.
Sutherland?
No,
Was
dead.
he in it? Was he one of them?
Donald Sutherland dead. Yeah, he got it. He got it. No, it was literally Bronson, and he's in the hospital bed at the end of the movie.
So he got nicked up a little bit,
Got
but he
nicked
lived
up.
to tell the tale.
Yeah. What an amazing story that was. Hey, you know what?
Merry Christmas.
Speaking of amazing stories, Riggo's going to have a word after this.
If you have atrial fibrillation, you know it can be difficult to treat successfully. Innova Heart and Vascular Institute in Fairfax is a leader in AFib treatment using specialized technology and expertise. This helps to more precisely target and treat rhythm irregularities that others could miss, helping to restore your heartbeat to normal. Give your heart the benefit of care. Visit innovaheart.org/AFib to learn more and to find an Innova physician. Innova. Join the future of health.
Who sat here? Your student? A peer? Your best friend? What did they grow up to be? A scientist? A nurse? An entertainer? Did you know it back then that they were made to stand out?
Larry, we were just discussing, this last game coming up against Philadelphia and, the implications that it has. And, I would be, based on what this team has been allowed to do, or I should say have allowed themselves to do with going into the locker room, I mean, there's been moments, I'm sure, when certain guys have gotten injured that there's a feeling of hopelessness for a while, and then you just realize, well, we've got to overcome this. They've done such a great job of this that, I get the feeling, there may be, particularly based on some of the stuff you saw after the game, and we were talking about that down in Tennessee on Saturday, that there might be a little bit of anger in some people and frustration. And what better place to take it out than against the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday and knock them down a peg and keep them the world champions, the reigning world champions, knock them out of the playoffs and start your offseason that way. So based on what I've seen Jay Gruden do with basically making more with less, I would expect these guys to do the same thing this week instead of having, like we used to tease each other in Shea Stadium when we would be knocked out of it when I played for the Jets. And we'd always be home before Christmas. They say, hey, some of these guys got their motors running out in the parking lot because they wanted to get in, get out, and get on the road. But I don't think that'll happen. I think we're going to see a good game on Sunday.
All right, my friend. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, Larry.